Hi, in this video we are going to learn about day 11 challenge, which is nothing but to count the frequencies of elements in a list. Let's get started. So to count the frequencies in a element means that that how the number appears how many times. So in the given list, to count the frequency of each element, right? So here 4 appears 3 times and 3 appears 2 times and 5 appears 2 times. So almost like it's like a 7 times appeared, right? So hints like normally to do that, we can to represent these we can directly do like a with dictionary, right? So directly defining dictionary, like how key value pairs will be there. So it is also giving the hint to initialize a empty dictionary and loop through that, and for each element I have to check that if it is there. If it is not, I have to create an element in the dictionary and count that by one, right? And then print and iterate to show the each element of its frequency. So edge cases is like that. When if it is an empty list, then have to print like that. If it is only the one element, then I have to print count is equal to 1, or it should be the count is equal to 1. All the elements are same, then count should be length of the equal to then this. So let's create in a file like day 11 count. Count what we have to count: frequency element in list, right? So that I'm defining a Python file to day 11. So let's close this and try to run this. So I have to define sorry, I have to define a function which is count, to count the frequency, right? Frequency in a list, right? So what we have to count in the, we have to count in a list of elements, right? Let's say it's passing. Let's say I'm trying to print of count. I have to return a list. What I have to return? Let's take this example. Okay, but here it is saying like that to print the dictionary or iterate to the each element. Let's do that. If it is possible, then directly we can print like that. So now we have to do the analysis. Means to print that. For example, I am using dictionary or loop. It may be, right? So for example, I am defining a frequency count, right? Frequency count of what I have to define: a dictionary. It is like an empty dictionary to define or to make the it is like a count of key value pair. For example, if 4 is counts that how many times. So for that I am using for loop. What I have to return: if it is a number in array, then I have to check if number in array, then I have to increase that word, right? If for example, if 4 is not there, then we can handle that. Okay, let's say if it is have the number in that, already have the number, for example 4 is there, then we have to increase that count, right? So for example, we can increase count as num is equal to frequency of count of num plus 1. If it is not there, right? If it is not there, then we have to create a element in the dictionary. So which is like to create num, we directly create giving the 1. So it directly creates that. What we have to return, that to return the frequency of the dictionary, frequency of the count, right? Means frequency of the count dictionary. Let's try to run this. Okay. So what is the problem? Key error for, yes. So here I think that ChatGPT said to iterate the, like print the dictionary or iterate to show the elements, right? So further I have to create, let's say, for key value in what, in frequency, the dot frequency count. I think it's I think, let's see, if I have like this, then I can get their key value paste, so then I can print directly as like this. But let's see what's the issue with that. Next, normally, okay, let's see first is, as I define the dictionary and loop through the each element. If the element in the frequency, then I have increased that. If it is not created, initialized, okay, and then I have written the dictionary. Okay, that's fine. So I given a list of elements. Okay, it is just like creating a, okay, it is like creating functions. So means, so it is like I have to count frequency of array, means I have to give this. So in this point, it will gives the dictionary, right? So in that they will give the key value so that we can access directly. For example, print, what we have to print, like we can directly print key value, let's see, or else we can customize as like we want, like this. Okay, let's try to run. No, why here only getting frequency of elements? Yes, right. Okay, let's try to run same as like this. What we get? Here count frequencies, like count frequency, right? No, why I am still getting for element in array? Yes, for element in array, I am checking each one in array. Yes, if it is not, then I am giving the count is equal to 1. Yes, incrementing by 1. Else fill is equal to 1. Yes, but why it's getting wrong? Let's try to copy this same as like that, and if it is only not working on me, or like only this. No, it's giving. What is the problem with it? Okay, I think something issues I'm getting, or else by this. Okay, we get the output. Let's see what is the problem. If I found that anything, you can also comment that, or else I will try to do that. If it really got the error, then I definitely show in the next video. Okay. Okay, it is by normally going the each element, if the element is equal to checking, it is a normal way to check that. And another approach will be like collections dot counter, right? Pythonic and efficient way. I think it will be using in most of these, like see here also indicated that very clean and widely used in interviews and assessments. So first we have to try that. Okay, it is also printing same as like this, right? So I'm not change this. Okay, so let's try to comment this, and I have to what I have to do, it is like a counter, right? It is like, see, counter automatically counts the frequency of each elements, so it can handle any iterables, right? So mostly it like a big of n, because n number of, so it directly calculates that. So I have to print from, sorry, from collections import, what we have to import, counter. So here please observe that it is capital C, right? We have to keep in that. Okay, so now we have to count. Let's say it's a frequency is equal to counter of what we have to count, array, right? Then return what we have to return, frequency. Let's try to run this. Yes, we are getting same. Yes, it is also same as like taking the each of the returns a dictionary like object, and we are printing that in a, it is like a object. Dictionary is also nothing but an object, right? Okay, next go, it is, if it is in a string, then it is also calculates all this. Okay, using list or without dictionary, it is also best way to do that, right? So for that I have to use like without dictionary. So for that, what I have to means, for example, here I am initializing a list, then I am created a word or like a variable to track that. Means for each element I am giving a found is equal to false. If that pair in a frequency list means in this list, then I have to give that means if it is, then I have to increase that, and found is equal to true, then I have to break. If it is not found, then I have to append that element with a this one, means incrementing that one. So using a list of element and count pairs, check if element exists, then increment, else add a new pair, right? Useful if dictionaries are not allowed, some coding tests. Okay, so it is almost like a nested loop, so it is like complex time complexity. So space, okay, is generally in edge cases like less efficient for the large list, preferred only for the practice and constraints. Let's try to do that. For example, frequency list I have created, and I have to loop through each element in array, right? And checking if element in frequency list, then I have to, yes, I will update the found, but first I have to take that if element in the frequency list, or if, okay, it is checking that if first element in the list is equal to element, or we can also do like that. Then but what is the problem is, if it is also count is like a 4, for example here 4, if any element that already present with a 4, then it will clash us, means taking the same elements, so we have not to use like that. So what we have to use here, used another pair list. Okay, it is also checking another loop also. I have not seen that much. Okay, so let's see. So let's say he is saying like found is equal to false, and right. So for pair in this means checking is that. Okay, means here we will have the nested loop, I think so. Means in that list we have the nested loop. Let's try to debug also. So for pair pair in frequency list, then checking if, right, if pair, for each pair means for each pair in that frequency list I am checking, like it will be, let's say if it you are confused, let I thinking as it is like a element, and what will be the next count. So next time it is like element count and so on, right. So for each of the first element in that first element is equal to element, then I have to update or increase the pair of one is equal to or plus or is equal to 1, right. Yes, and then we have to found that is equal to true, and we have to break that. So here checking that each element and breaking that. Next, if it is not found, right, if it is not found, what it is not found, if not found means if it is not false means true, right. If it is not true means false. So mostly if it is not in that, then it will come here, then we have to create that pair, right. So we have to frequency list dot fn, and we have to create in that, right. See, this is it is inserting the element with a count, right, as we did in the dictionary. So same as like that we have to import with the element or with the number count is 1, right. So from this way we did the all the things just to print that only, right. So let's return frequency list. So we want to get this output. Let's try to run result dot items. Okay, it is like a checking dictionary type, right. So let's copy this, or directly we can print frequency list. Let's say I can print that. I'm commenting this and print of count frequency list of this. Yes, see, it is like a, which means like a nested list, right. Each one and their count, each one and their count. Okay, that's also best, but it is not useful because it is less efficient for the largest list. So we have to careful with that without using only using the list. Okay, list of tuples, list of nested lists. Okay, next by using simple set and count, right, it is like a simple just by converting the each element and checking that each element in that this, right, by using a count variable. See, convert the list to set and unique elements only, use dot count, right, to find the frequency of each element on original list. Simple but slower for the largest list because count loops every time, right. Okay, let's try to do that and simple way, right, we can easily. Let's comment this. Now what we have to do using set. So it is looping like for number or like a, yes, checking with this set of array means we have to num in all that, right. then we have to check that each element, right? Or like counting. It is just like a print each element with a count. Print each element with a count, right? So return, let's say take this f string f. What we have to return? What we have to return? Num with their, what we have to return means let's say array, right? This is array dot count count of num, right? Yes. Let's try to run this. I got only first one. 3 to 1. Unique elements only. Okay. Why I am getting this much errors? Okay, here directly returning all that, right? So that's why it's getting only one in single loop, right? So I have to um, make a list of this, or directly we can take this and do that. Let's try to comment this. Okay, now that this answer will be get with the all answers, right? Because here I am directly returning the first one, so that's why it's getting same as like that, only single element only, right? So I have to remove this, and or like we can keep that in a list also. For example, let's say frequency is equal to list, and frequency dot append, we can append this one. Let's try to run that. Oh shit, none. Okay, I have to return that, right? Return frequency. Yes, it's getting in a string format, but we get the output. So it's like a big of n square, so we can't do that because takes but slower for the largest. Okay, works for the edge case, works for the duplicates naturally until it prints nothing. Yes. And another way, I think it's the last method to found, that is default from the collections, where I have imported in previously that like a counter. Here importing default dict. So it is normally default dict value is equal to 0. For element, in that element we are counting in the dictionary, right? Default dictionary means we are defining here a simple dictionary. Here default value it is like creating, and no need to check if the keys exist or not, just like checking each one. Default dict automatically initialize missing keys with the default value, cleaner than normal dictionary for counting, widely used in competitive programming or interviews. So big offense. So okay, let's try to do that. First we have to define the frequency, and for each element in that I have to count, then I have to print like this in a dictionary format, right? So I'm creating this, and it is like a using default dict, right? Now what we have to define? First we have to define a frequency. In that frequency I have to define default dict. For that I have to initialize that thing. Will be yes, it can possible. Yes, so in that I have to give the int and checking with each elements, right? In that I have to give the int, and for element in array I have to increase that frequency of element is equal to frequency of element plus 1, right? And we have to return that, what we have to return, because it is a dictionary, so directly we can return frequency. So I have to release or comment out this, then I have to run. Yes, same output we are getting. That's good. So in this also, here we have seen that counter and default dict are used in mostly on interviews or programming assessments, so we have to practice that more much. So dictionary is like beginner friendly manual method, so interview is best for that, and counter is also best for the interviews but requires import and list of tuples way, but it is like only for the practitioners, no need dictionaries and big of and square cons, it is like a disadvantages. And set is also for the small data set concepts well, but not for the big list. And next, default dict is also for best for the interviews, so manual way, counter way, and default dict is best for the interviews. So counter is the most accepted, and manual great if asked to avoid the libraries. Yes, so that's all for today. Today we have used to do that in a different ways to count the frequencies in a list, right? Frequency elements in a list, which is nothing but loop or a dictionary method, and by using counter import collections and without dictionary, right? We use that, but it's not good for the large data sets. And set is also best, but is also not for the big data sets. And in a default, this is also best for the interviews. So that's all for today. Try to practice all these videos, and if you have any doubts, if you want to share anything, please comment this, and I will see you in the next video. And in the next video we can go to the duplicates finding in the list, right, or removing that. Thank you. See you in the next video.